Hello, Daisy Cakes. This is Daisy X Machina, the drag queen detective who investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And this is a Get Ready With Me where I get into drag to film a video later today. And it looks like we have a full house, lots of discussion. John Crow is here. Yay. Frank is here. Lori is here. All right. Land of Lakes. 10,000 lakes. Tim is here. Hey, Tim. Lynette is here. Wow, this is a full house. Okay, looks like we're all saying hello, hello, hello. And as usual, my question is, how is everyone's reading going this week? So I finally I did break down, but I finally got the first Dungeon Crawler Carl book, and I absolutely love it. It's going to be I think it's going to be my new Flavia Deleuze. In other words, I think there's like 7 books out so far, but I'm not going to read them all at once. I'm just going to save them for when I have a reading slump because they are just so much fun. I thought it was going to be the Shannon McGuire Wayward Children series, but that I wasn't that impressed by the second book, and they're kind of depressing. I want something uplifting, and Dungeon Crawler Carl is, at least the first book, is heavily influenced by Hitchhiker's Guide. I mean, even for the whole setup. But instead of the world getting destroyed and Arthur going on a adventure with Ford Prefect, this one, the Earth is kind of destroyed, but everyone is placed. Survivors enter this dungeon, which is very similar to our video games. This is called a lit RPG game, which means literature based on a role-playing game or having the feel of a role-playing game. But instead of the Hitchhiker's Guide, giving you little excerpts from the encyclopedia of the different races or whatever, sort of these sort of breakaways, in Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's they're like little pop-ups that tell you about the creatures you're meeting. It's very, very funny. And what's a kicker is Carl goes into the dungeon with his cat, Princess Donut. And this cat plays a big, big role. And I kind of like it. Well, I'm like 60% into it. I think I may like it more than Hitchhiker's Guide, simply because there is sort of this, I mean, it's a ridiculous story, but there's sort of this serious element to it. Like Carl has to deal with the emotions he feels if he has to kill these like little rat babies or rat people babies or something like that. And then he runs across a group of elderly people that had escaped from like a nursing home and was placed into this dungeon and have to deal with that. It's a good story. Admittedly, it's for people that have played video games. I think there's more. I'm trying to think, if you're not really into video games, how much you would enjoy it, but I don't know. I think you would, but okay. Shared your transformation shorts with your wife. She was tickled pink. Yay! Thank you. Best to see them on Instagram. I put them on like Netflix and YouTube, but they're like mixed in with like other videos. Star Wars My Destination. Still on it. Mooney is here. Yay. Read a book about the 100 Years Omar. That would make a great movie. I agree, Tim. Okay, let's pop. I read a silly mystery yesterday. Haven't started anything new. Well, I like a silly mystery, Lori, once in a while. When the Wolf Comes Home, and hated it so much, I trashed 2 other books by the author. Oh dear. Hadn't read yet and foolishly paid for. I've been there, especially if it's like a series. For me, it's like I'm a sucker for fantasy trilogies, and if I see one at a bookstore, I'll like, especially like a used bookstore, I'd get the entire pack, but then don't really care about the first one, and sometimes I'll force myself to keep reading because I had them. But God, I'm thinking of one. It's like, I know the first book was like Witch Warrior or something. Tomorrow People got the term genre from. Now listening to West of Eden. DK Moon, God damn it, Donut, the catchphrase, yes. You silly accent, Lynette. Did do a lot of reading because I have been messing around with ChatGPT. I become addicted to AI. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm playing around with the sometimes I feel guilty about using it, but I can't really afford to pay artists for my silly little projects that I don't get any money for. But I'm like playing around with the images for like a little website I'm doing for the book I'm writing. But it is addictive and it is fun. Narration of West of Eden is quite good. Like Marlon Brando, huh? Wonder who the voice actor is. I can't play video games. I had ChatGPT create pictures for me, and I've sent them off to create personalized jigsaws. Oh, I like that. Booktubers I trusted praise this guy and his other books. Well, it's everyone has different tastes. One of my cousins used AI to turn a pic of his cat into a pic of a human. Oh dear. Okay, so if you read my or saw my video on my mind just went blank. Just do a video on The Last Citadel. No, that's not it. Yeah, The Last Citadel, where I picked The Last Citadel. A lot of people were telling me about Lewis Paget is the name of the C.L. Moore and Kuttner. I'm forgetting everyone's name. Harold Kuttner? Is that right? Henry. Okay, C.L. Moore and Henry Kuttner. They were. It's really interesting, and I'm going to do a video about it today. But they wrote under the pseudonym Lewis Paget. Sometimes they wrote under their own names. I think Kuttner had like a whole list of pseudonyms, but Lewis Paget, that name was a combination of their mother's maiden names, and they wrote the last or all Mimsy were the Borough Groves, and several people mentioned that. I think Lynette, you did in the comments to that video, and I have read it. I have read Mimsy were the Borough Groves. I didn't really remember the author, but I had no idea it was the author was a pseudonym for 2 authors. And what I love about this is that I read it in middle school because it was in a textbook. The textbook of like short stories. This was in 8th grade, I think. And I remember one of the it wasn't the whole novel, but it got me into Charles Dickens because it had a excerpt from Great Expectations. So of course, I had to read the whole thing. But you know, it was one of those English books, English textbooks where they have a whole bunch of short stories. And one of them, I was so excited when I saw it was science fiction and it was Mimsy Were the Borogroves. And so I have read these authors without knowing that I've read them, which is kind of cool. And it was made into a movie called The Last Mimsy, which I liked, but it could have just been nostalgia, which is because I don't think the movie did very well. But I was like, oh, I remember that. Anyway, I think ChatGPT could solve all my problems. ChatGPT lies, by the way, because so be careful using it if you're actually using it for information. Because I was using it when I was querying books to agents. One of the things they want you to do is to come up with comparative titles of books, and it should be books that have been like recently within the last 2 years published. So I was like asking ChatGPT, come up with a list of like 20 books, and here's the parameters because I want it similar to the book that I'm writing. And it gave me a list of 20 books, and I was like, fantastic. Well, come to find out that a lot of the books that are listed didn't exist. The author, it just made up names of authors, it made up names of books. And there was an article recently about a list of books to read for the summer reads. And this was published in like a big newspaper, and the books didn't exist because whoever did this used ChatGPT. Let me look that up. Um, it's interesting part of books to read chat. Here we go. If anyone wants to read the article. Using ChatGPT to create outlines of sci-fi worlds. I love it. Now we're calling it AI, artificial intelligence. I know we're calling ChatGPT that. It's not really intelligent. Oh gosh, what did I just do? I have an itch. The word for it is hallucinating. Just makes, yeah, because it has to answer you, and if they can't find it on the web, it'll just make it up. Okay, so today I only thought it's just to do a pink look. So I need to get started here. Mm. I still haven't received the Wilma Fingerdew makeup palette, but I know it just arrived in the United States. So maybe next week I'll be able to use it. But Oh, I finally broke down and got a subscription to Apple TV. Because I wanted to see Murderbot, and I didn't realize that not all the episodes are out yet. So there's only 3 episodes out right now. So, because I thought I was gonna, I'll just watch them all because you can get a 1 week free trial. But I'll probably keep Apple TV for a few months because there is a lot of science. I'm surprised. There's a lot of science fiction shows. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because the people that run Apple are sort of many of them my generation you know, tech guys are into the science fiction. The other reason why I think that there are these tech people that are kind of in my generation is for some reason they bought the rights to Peanuts. And I was oh, my cat's you okay, Angel? My cat was walking underneath me. Um, I was a huge Peanuts fan growing up. Charlie Brown, Snoopy. Oh goodness, Lex is here. And they call me Shay Shay Girl. Hey, Shay Shay. I started reading a book today by a psychologist about the survival of the guys from Flight 571. The Andy survivors died this year. Wow. Sorry. Oh, don't be sorry. Been busy getting my teeth cleaned by my dentist. Wheel of Time. I watched Murderbot and was bummed only a few episodes. Yeah, me too. I thought I was going to watch the whole thing. Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime just got canceled. Oh, oh, whoa. Because I've said that this before. I've said before here that I've progressively been liking each season the further we got into it because I really didn't care that much for the first season. Liked the second season more. Thought the third season was the strongest. So, wow. Some online Ho wanted me to get her an Apple car. Oh, I remember that last week. Frank, it's getting that Apple card scam. Had to walk down to the polling booth on the rainiest day for weeks. My favorite shows and animes from the DVDs I ripped to my desktop. We lost my umbrella, had to get a new one. Yeah, I agree. But my favorite, by the way, if you haven't seen Sense8 in Netflix, it's like one of the, in my opinion, one of the best sci-fi shows on that has ever been created on streaming. But anyway, it was canceled before the season end. And what really impressed me about Netflix, they weren't planning to do this, but they decided to go ahead and do a final episode or final movie length, 2-hour episode to allow the creators who are the what what I don't know how to pronounce it. Wachowski not twins, siblings. They were the ones who did the Matrix. They both became trans, and anyway, it's the first time I've ever seen this happen. That the network, even though they canceled the show, allowed the creators to wrap up the storyline. Because it is so annoying when they stop a series before it has a chance to conclude. I remember in HBO's Carnival, which is another one of the best, in my opinion, best kind of horror sci-fi blend. Um, when they canceled that with a cliffhanger. Anyway, Murderbot, I really like it. I mean, I've only seen 3 episodes, but the thing about it is, um, personally, for me, and I know why they did this. It's because when you get a famous actor or well-known actor, this is Skarsgård. He was in True Blood. Really liked him in True Blood. But when you get an actor to play a role, they want the actor wants the audience to see their face. And I really wish they wouldn't have done it as much as they're doing it. But I'm it's just a little thing, but I kind of wish that they would have just even have given him some type of like skull cap or something, like a metal, like I don't know if you've seen the old RoboCop when he put off or took off his helmet, he was still, you couldn't see his ears and or his hair. Like why would there be hair on a sec unit? But anyway, they are following, and this is what I like about the Murderbot series. I'm assuming that each season's going to be like one of the books, but the books are standalone. So there is sort of this continuous plot line, but the stories themselves are standalone. So if it gets canceled, it won't really matter because the um, the story wouldn't be lost because each season would be a complete story. At least that's what I'm assuming they're doing. Any news on the Babylon 5 reboot? Though if you applied that logic to authors, then George R. R. Martin would be in trouble because I think his series will be ending midstream. Yeah. I hope not. I hope not. I don't and the thing about Martin is that unlike Robert Jordan, who wrote Wheel of Time, Jordan was an outliner. So he had like outlined the entire story to the end, and even wrote some of the material for later books. So when he passed away, his wife was able to hire another writer, Brandon Sanderson, to finish the series, and he had that framework plus material to finish the series. George R. R. Martin doesn't do that. I don't think George R. R. Martin is an outliner. So, I mean, the whole story's in his head. So if he passes away or for whatever reason doesn't finish it, it can't be. Well, it's not that it can't be, but it wouldn't be his story if someone else wrote it because there's no blueprint. Okay. Ready for the new season? Yeah, that's the other one I want to see. Legs. I haven't started it yet, but I'm hoping it's good because there's 2 seasons of the Foundation. I started watching this one though on Apple TV called Invasion or something, and I just got sick of it. Like, this is a problem when there's like you jump into a show and there's like a whole bunch of seasons and you start binging it. Sometimes you just get exhausted by it, but I really didn't like the Invasion. Um, and the show everyone's talking about, Severance, fantastic sci-fi premise where if you go to where this company um, who doesn't want anyone to know what they're doing, I guess the workers that work there, they get their memories wiped and a whole new persona is built if they're in the building. But as soon as they leave the building, they revert back to their own self, but they don't remember anything they've done uh, while working. And so their work persona is like a whole new person. I mean, it's really fascinating, but I got a little bit burnt out because I started watching the series, watched the first season and like a couple episodes of the second season, and then just got a little bit oversaturated. So I just need to take it easy. So the Matrix guys are still big shots. I think this canceling midstream is turning people away from streaming. Yeah. That's why they should do more of what they did for Sense8. By the way, it's SENSE number 8. We're just allowing the creators to finish their stories. Yeah, me too. When stories don't conclude. Doesn't happen that often with books, but I have. It has been known to happen. Um, anyway, I could go on about that, but the Babylon 5 reboot is off the table because JMS has moved to Britain. Yeah, I remember you telling us that last week. Firefly is probably one of the worst cancellation mistakes. Such a good show that only had 1 season. Knights of Seven Kingdom are sort of standalones. Yeah, I didn't get into Firefly as much as other people. We give Moon Knight a season 2. Dinnaman, DCC, isn't a plotter. He makes up the story as he goes. Oh, Daniel Crawler Carl. Yeah. And if you haven't heard me say DK, that's going to be my new. I'm going to save those books until I have a reading slump, so I can just sort of savor them and not binge them. Using Michael Crichton outlines to make new novels. I saw I don't know if it was on 60 Minutes. This was decades ago, but there's a show on how Michael Crichton writes. He was a crazy outliner. I don't know where he would get these like sheets of paper. Maybe they were like for like the butchers use, just like rolls of paper that he would like cover his living room floor and just sit and outline with this huge expanse of paper. That show is like a regular job. I could never get into streaming. I just get stuff on DVD and Blu-ray. Well, does Netflix still do that? I remember when I first started Netflix, it was like a DVD ordering service. And I heard someone say, oh, Netflix still does that. Okay, I am. Hmm. Okay, I need to jump to black to get some sort of ombre going here. Paramount was threatening to cancel Star Trek completely. I did not like where they were taking Star Trek, so I stopped watching John after like season 3 or something like that. I did like Picard though. Picard was great. And I liked the first season of the one they did with Christopher Pike, Brave New World. I really miss those days of getting that red Netflix envelope in the mail. I still miss Blockbuster because it's like going to a bookstore and browsing. Only you browsed for movies. Okay. Actually, I'm going to, well, Okie dokie. And finally, I think I just want to press them. Okay. They keep messing around with species and timelines. I was reading about a manuscript of a book written by an author who died, was auctioned off. Ackerman bought it, but it was stolen, but they found the carbon copies in the author's belongings. That's wild. I'm not sure who the author is. Kuttner, Kornbluth, Beaumont, Weinbaum, all died young is one of them. Yeah, because I'm doing the C.L. Moore, Henry Kuttner video today. Kuttner died at 42 of a heart attack. Who dies that young of a heart attack? It's crazy. You know, and what's a shame is that they, Moore and Kuttner were just so simpatico as writers, apparently. Really enjoyed David Gimmel's books. It was a pity he passed away. You know who I'm mad at? And maybe this is totally wrong for me to be mad about, but C.L. Moore, Catherine Moore's, um, the writer who is C.L. Moore, when after Kuttner died, her first husband, she became a script writer. She might have done a little bit of writing, but as soon as she married her second husband, let me find out his name. I don't like this guy. And I don't, it's probably Thomas Reggie. I don't know if this is fair of me, but I'm just like, why did she stop writing as soon as she married Thomas Reggie? And it wasn't like, and she stopped her career as a screenwriter. And I don't think they had kids. It wasn't like she was raising kids. She just never professionally worked again. And then she started getting back into, I guess, the fandom or SFWA, the Science Fiction Writers Association. And she was nominated to be the first woman grandmaster of science fiction, the first woman grandmaster. And her husband, this Thomas Reggie, told the committee, "I'll remove her name, withdraw her name." And allegedly it's because she had Alzheimer's and she wouldn't be able to figure out what was going on. But is that really a reason? They have given it to her anyway? I mean, eventually it went to Andre Norton, but I never heard of C.L. Moore. I don't remember C.L. Moore, but I would have if she was the first woman grandmaster of science fiction. So, you know, I'm thinking, and again, this is all speculation, but why? First, why was her professional career ended as soon as she married this guy? And why did he have them withdraw her name as the first grandmaster? I don't know. I don't know. Kornbluth died in the early 40s of a heart attack. He had shoveled snow in his driveway and then ran to catch a train. Oh, yipes, died on the platform. Lung cancer at 33. Jeez Louise. But you are more mad at J.K. Rowling. Well, that's a whole other story. We don't have to get into that situation. Okay. Oh, what am I going to cut my crease with? I was going to do, I've done silver, pink and pink on pink before. I could do like a blue or yellow, pink and yellow. Gold, silver? I'm thinking of silver, pink and silver, as opposed to pink and gold. Let's do pink and silver. Beaumont was the most tragic death. Early onset dementia took 4 years to kill him. He was died at 38. That is crazy. Yeah, when I was doing my 100 science fiction writers and 100 fantasy writers, and I was like looking up everyone's biography. It's just so disheartening how young some people die. You know, I think 50s, 60s is young, and there are a lot of those. I mean, oh, spoiler! I do recommend the Last Citadel, Earth Last Citadel by Warren Kuttner. I mean, it's not the best science fiction I've ever read, but okay. I mean, I do enjoy. I think Conjure Wife was the winner, which I've read. I think I've read it 2 times, by Fritz Lieber, which I'm very glad that won. But it's gotten me thinking that I'm doing these retro Hugo picks, and I kind of really do want to do it to find like golden age of science fiction writers that I've um, not read before or not heard of. And I've been noticing that the nominees, a lot of them aren't golden age writers. Like I wouldn't Herman Hesse or Hesse, how do you pronounce his name? I wouldn't consider him golden age. And T.H. White, I guess, but not really. Not, you know. So a lot of these nominees, C.S. Lewis, I'll take C.S. Lewis, but I don't know. Some of them just I don't know how they chose these nominees. I'm just not sure I would consider them uh, golden age sci-fi writers. Makes me sound like a snob. But anyway, I think I'm going to try to film 2 videos today. One, the Earth Last Citadel, and then the 1945 Retro Hugos. But I'm probably not going to release these videos until July because I'm kind of backed up on videos. Like I want to do um, the book tag video I did. I want to release that while the tag is still in people's minds, and I want to do the ugly book cover video. Release that one. And with Shelve It or Shove It, I think it's going to be till July before I release the next Hugo videos. Probably can't see this on live stream, but you'll see it when I do a video that says silver. Okay. Just imagine what novels these 4 guys would have written if they had survived. Yeah. And I'm thinking of if the Lewis Paget, if Kuttner didn't die, um, what their collaboration would have ended up with. Might have had 40 years of writing between them. I'm tempted to try. I really like Conjure Wife. I mean, it's dated, but it's the premise is if you don't know, it's modern day. It's set in the 40s when the book was written, and and it's sort of this male, I guess, paranoia fantasy that women actually control the world um, through witchcraft, even though it's a the conceit that it's a man's world is it's just a myth. So it's I like it. Many of the golden age science fiction authors were Jewish. I looked into the reason for that, and it seems that the sci-fi magazines were more willing to receive stories from Jewish authors, whereas mainstream publishers rejected. Oh, wow. Huh. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, got it through your interlibrary. Great job, Tim. Also, Jews felt that they were outsiders that may have helped with sci-fi ideas. Yeah. Oh, the other story about when C.L. Moore and Henry Kuttner met is um, apparently they first met because Kuttner was a fan of C.L. Moore's writing and wrote fan letters to C.L. Moore, thinking C.L. Moore was a man. I had no idea he was writing to a woman. And I think it was 3 years later they married. but, I don't think it was unusual at that time for women to be, use pseudonyms to hide their gender in, sci-fi. I mean, we all know James Tiptree was sort of the quintessential, one at that. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Daisy, women do control the world, they just don't need witchcraft to do it. Cutner and Seymour seem to have been very much in love with each other, yeah. I'm surprised women aren't still trying to hide their gender. I work as a special investigator. I use my initials TM, which sounds like Tim. Well, they still do. I mean, I can think of examples. Well, whenever I see initials, I always wonder when an author goes by their initials. So get ugly remarks from trolls. John MacDonald was said to be quite biased against female authors. I'm not sure about the other editors of Sci-Fi magazine. Some men today even refuse to read books by women. Well, I've heard that it's more often the case where it's more likely a man is unwilling to read about a female protagonist and prefer like male protagonists. So that's also a thing. A lot of sexism towards. I don't think there's as much today as there was um, 30 years ago. Like a twit. There are men today who claim women can't be comics. Yeah. Well, that was again. I think that was more in the 70s with like Belushi. Certainly had that sentiment. Okay. Oh, my light went off. I don't avoid women authors, but I also don't deliberately seek them out. I've seen their recent rants on YouTube that women aren't funny. Oh dear. I'm glad I didn't see that, Tim. Really annoys me because my favorite comedians are women. Some of them. We still have a bit of a way to go until we have true equality. The bias to women is still out there, but more subtle. Or good and bad comics, authors, etc., both genders. Let me. I think I'm going to try to do a little wing out here. Okay. So should I? Maybe I'll do one little white streak. And of course, you can't even see it. But Okay. I think we better leave well enough alone at this point. I critique dating code. What are we talking about here? I want my blood pressure to go dangerously up. I watch those dating videos. Those are so funny. Do they even do them anymore? If it was not for the internet, I would not have met my wife. I met my husband on the internet, but it was like the late 90s. So it was very early in the uh, online dating scene. And I think it was a little different for gay men. I don't know. I made a long-term partner on a dating site. He passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lori. Good to hear that, John. The web isn't all bad. I don't think I have watched female dating coaches. Are they as bad with the advice as male ones? I watch Fresh and Fit. They are pretty tough on women. I've been out of the dating game for nearly 35 years. There are advantages for being ace. A lot less stress. There are advantages and disadvantages to solid. The grass is always greener. You know what I mean? We might be living in a real life sci-fi plot, the 4B movement. Yep. Aces don't necessarily live solitary lives. They have strong platonic friendships. Aromantic. I'd say aces. What if this might be wrong in the terminology? Okay, anyway. I'm going to do lips. Just going to do red. Should I do pink? I thought I had pink lipstick. Okay. Okay. Are both asexual and aromantic. I was terrible at dating. I dislike it. I personally prefer being in a relationship than not. And I know a lot of gay men are into the sort of swinging life, but I never was. Even maybe it's because I lived through AIDS. I don't know, but yeah, never really got into the casual sex scene. Okay. Read Antibot, turning Japanese, and Frank. Romance is better than nothing for most people, even without sex. This is pink. Why does that look red? I need to let it dry, and I'll top it with um, okay. Hey, thanks, Tim. I was afraid red would have clashed with the eyes. I'm going to fix my lips. Don't worry. I don't get crushes, but sometimes they get squishes. The squish is a platonic crush. I think I might have went a little heavy on the dark in the lips. Okay. I watched a vid about the Japanese government becoming concerned over the amount of men with sex doll robots. Oh, if you have Netflix, there's a new season of Sex, Death, and Robots, whatever it's called. They're like really short, like 15-minute animations. Some better than others, of course, but some on SNL, not bad as an actor and funny too. You're referring to Pedro. Okay, I'm going to do eyelashes and then wrap it up. Oops. I can't believe half this year is gone already. Okay. The older I get, the faster time moves. Isn't that the truth? Why is that? I don't want to think too hard about it. But man, do you remember when you were a kid? When you were a kid and like 1 year just seemed so long. Just seemed like forever. So true. Okay. So looks hot pink in real life, but reads a little different. Okay. I use this when I have a lace front. Oops. Oh, I have these little. Oops. Okay, guys, I think this is the final look. We went all pink. Thank you, John. Thank you, Frank. The silver eye is to die for. David Tennant had to change his name because there was already an actor with his actual name. Yeah, there's something weird in actor land where you can't have the same name as another actor and that you have to like put in an initial at least or something weird. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, DK. Well, hopefully next month I'll be able to do a use the Wilma Fingerdo palette. And I'm probably going to do a separate video. I won't stream it live, just to do a review of the makeup palette, just because I want to support Wilma. And I should be back next week. Don't see why not. And for those of you who are enjoying Memorial Day, happy Memorial Day on Friday, on Monday. Always get James Marson confused with James Marsters. David John McDonald. Okay, guys. Thank you for being here. And as always, may all the books you read be blessed.